So I was taking a short break from making videos for a little while, reading. I have plenty of books to read, including a number of books, textbooks on gerontology that I purchased. But I needed to make a video in defense of Whoopi Goldberg. Now, Whoopi Goldberg made supposedly insensitive statements stating that the Holocaust wasn't about race, it was about hatred by one group of humanity against another group of humanity, or something like that. I think I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly what she said. But what I want to point out is, if we are to believe the official narrative of the Holocaust, let's keep in mind the Holocaust is a term applied to the mass extermination of numerous groups of people. Okay? It wasn't just one group of people. There were other people, and some of those people were 100% pure German, including Jehovah's Witnesses, certain segments of the Catholic community, and it wasn't because they were Catholic. I'll explain in a second. Communists, other political people, homosexuals, gypsies, etc. The purpose of the so-called Holocaust, if we're to believe the official story, wasn't actually to do with racism or race hatred. It had to do with ideology. If you read a book that was written by the gentleman that was in charge of Germany at the time of the Holocaust, the angst against that group of people was not based in some sort of racism. It was based in a hatred of what he determined to be that group's anti-German sentiment and anti-German influence over the German population. Now, I'm not justifying the Holocaust. I'm not going to start talking about revisionism. This isn't revisionism. This is just what happened. If you really look at what happened, according to the official story, it was not merely one group of people, the Jewish people of Europe, is what they claim. You know, that's not one group of people. There were, of course, many other groups of people. Communists, okay, that were of pure German blood, Jehovah's Witnesses of pure German blood, okay, Christian socialists of pure German blood, and many other people that were not ideologically in sync with the Third Reich, that were equally dealt with as harshly as those of the Jewish people of Europe. My point is that what Whoopi Goldberg said was, according to the official accounts of what happened, according to what we're taught in history, according to what we're taught in school, was accurate. It was not race-based, it was politically based. Okay, it was ideologically based. And this is why I think that the nature of politics in the United States is getting so dangerous. And I've talked about this with psychiatric abuse. We're getting closer and closer to a world where psychiatry is being practiced in the United States as it was practiced in Nazi Germany or the Soviet Union, where psychiatry is being used to determine whether people are sane or insane. Whether they're and by sane or insane, what they mean is, does their ideology mesh with those in power? Whether those people in power are conservative or whether those people in power are liberal. It doesn't really matter, but we're seeing people strike out with psychiatric abuse and psychiatric persecution of the public in both ways. So I've made a number of videos about this. I may have taken some of them down, but I'm going to post a video about that, about the political use of psychiatric abuse in the Soviet Union and in Nazi Germany, and how we come closer and closer and closer to looking more like the Soviet Union or Nazi Germany than we do looking like the United States every single day. Okay, now people might not remember, I've made a number of videos in defense of Ilhan Omar, who made similar statements calling out the Israeli lobby in the United States. People deemed that Miss Omar was somehow anti-Semitic. When I followed Miss Omar on Twitter, okay, and not once did she mention Jews, she mentioned the Israeli lobby. And her concern, and Tulsi Gabbard defended her for this, and I will leave a link to Tulsi Gabbard defending Ms. Omar. What the point was, and what Tulsi's point was, and what Ms. Omar's point was, which is a good point, is why does a foreign lobby control a lion's share of politics through money in the United States? These are not American citizens that are controlling this. And then Donald Trump told her to, quote, go home. Well, whether Donald Trump liked it or not, she is a U.S. citizen. She's a naturalized U.S. citizen. And she's doing her job looking out for her constituency. And she's doing her job looking out for the sanctity of the United States political apparatus, which is being undermined by different lobbies. I think that the Catholic lobby is far more dangerous than the Israeli lobby, but I do, especially on a local level. But Ms. Omar, her point is clear. Her point is valid. Her point needs to be taken seriously, and that is, why is a foreign power controlling U.S. politics? And she did not make an anti-Semitic comment or an anti-Jewish comment. She did not make a statement that was either against the Jewish people as a race or against the Jewish people as a religion. If you watch an interview, and I'm going to leave a link to it, of Sir Oswald Mosley, the British politician that was the head of the British Union of Fascists, it was clear that the BBC interviewer attempted to paint him very unfairly as an anti-Semite, when he was clearly not an anti-Semite. He was simply for the British people and wanted to avoid World War II from happening. So, as you can tell, there is in the media, this is a common thread where they try to paint people that are not anti-Semitic as anti-Semitic if they have a problem with a certain aspect of things. With Whoopi Goldberg, what's so perplexing about that, she didn't even say anything offensive. She just pointed out a fact. And, well, maybe not a fact, but she pointed out her opinion. And she shouldn't be censored for such a basic and, dare I say, accurate opinion that, this is not about, this is not about racism. This is about what she called hatred. I would call it ideology. I would call it ideologically driven hatred or ideologically driven persecution of a group of people by another group of people for the purpose of eliminating the threat to their own ideology. Now, the other day, and this is what's funny, we hear so much about the Holocaust, the Holocaust, the Holocaust, the Holocaust. You never hear about the Holodomor. And there was a Ukrainian gentleman that was angry at me that I mentioned how I embrace Stalinism now. And he was, upset because Ukrainians, blah, 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 millions of Ukrainians died in the Holodomor, blah, 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 whatever. I don't ignore the Holodomor. The Holodomor was the mass starvation of millions upon millions upon millions of Ukrainians by the Soviet Union. Okay? And the perpetrators of that were, I'm not going to get into that, but my point is, this gentleman seemed very upset with me that I said that I embrace Stalinism. Well, there's more to Stalinism than the Holodomor. There's more to Stalinism than the so-called anti-Semitic pogroms, as Joy Behar would say. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot of economic values that are unique. For example, Stalin did not get rid of classes. He re-implemented class structure in the Soviet Union. He re-implemented the need for different pay grades for different jobs and things of that nature because he realized that Marxism just is not functional. It won't. The Soviet Union could not function under a Marxist direction. It had to be changed. It had to be turned into Stalinism, Stalinist Leninism, or Leninist Stalinism, however you want to say it. And I do plan on doing a couple reviews of a couple books I have of Joseph Stalin's. I find the man very interesting. I find his ideas very interesting. But people don't understand, as far as I'm concerned with politics, I really don't give a damn about the Ukraine. I don't give a damn about Russia. I don't give a damn about really anywhere else. I give a damn about my own country and whether my country is functioning properly, whether my citizenry is getting what they need out of their country. And I'm putting ideas out there. People can say my ideas are crazy. They can say whatever they want, but they very rarely disprove what I'm saying. As for Whoopi Goldberg, yeah, I defend her against this. This is similar to what happened when Whoopi Goldberg stated that Mel Gibson, who's a personal friend of hers, was not racist. Okay, and what I thought was so funny is the other clucking hens on The View wanted to dictate to Whoopi what she should think about her own personal friend. Now, this is the funny thing. They always want to talk about as a black woman. Okay, so you got these white women telling a black woman, Whoopi Goldberg, what she needs to think about her personal friend, Mel Gibson, who she's known for years, about his views on her race. Think about that. Think about how insane that is. Okay? So you're talking about a bunch of white women telling a black woman what she needs to think about her personal friend, Mel Gibson, because he was drunk and said some things to his girlfriend, okay, and Whoopi Goldberg refused to believe that he was racist because she was his personal friend. Whether she's correct or not is not really the problem here. She might be incorrect, she might be correct, that's her personal opinion, but who are these other women to tell her what is an okay opinion or not? That's her opinion. As a black woman that's personal friends with this gentleman, it really makes no sense. The way that censorship operates in this country makes no sense. And this gets back to like Megyn Kelly, the situation where Megyn Kelly was censored for her statements on blackface. It gets back to a lot of this idiotic censorship of people that might misspeak. They might say something that might not be 100%, up to snuff with the morality of the times or whatever. But the point comes, like, when can you have an opinion at this point? Look at what's going on with Joe Rogan right now, and I didn't even decide to cover the Joe Rogan thing, because to be quite honest, I don't really care about the whole Joe Rogan Spotify thing. I think it's a bunch of baloney. I don't really care. My point is that it's getting to the point where if you have an opinion that goes against these unwritten moral codes that you're just supposed to magically know. Now, one of my favorites is the LGBTQIAP plus movement. When I worked in mental health, we had to memorize what every one of those frickin' what every one of those letters meant. The LGBTQIAP plus movement. Okay? We had to know that. Why? I have no idea. But heaven forbid, we don't know what LGBTQIAP plus means. Okay? Give me a break. I mean, it has gotten to a point where political correctness has stifled, and I'm going to leave a link to what Tulsi Gabbard has to say about censorship over Joe Rogan, actually. It's gotten to a point where censorship in this country has stifled people from just being able to speak plain English. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I think more people need to be consistent and stand up for Whoopi Goldberg. People don't understand why I stand up for Ilhan Omar. People don't understand why I stand up for Alexandria Cortez. If people ever get a chance, and I'll leave a link to it, the supercut, the Alexandria Cortez supercut. Now, Cortez has changed a lot. Now, I've also gone after her on Twitter back when I had my Twitter account because she started comparing herself to Jesus Christ. And I pointed out that Jesus Christ was a narcissist, according to a very popular Israeli psychologist named Sam Vaknin, and I think he did a very good job at pointing out how Jesus was indeed a narcissist, but it came in very handy. I've since parted ways with Miss Cortez, but the thing is, Cortez, when she took office, was doing important things like calling out mass corruption that other people were not calling out. Okay, Tulsi Gabbard's my girl, though. Tulsi Gabbard's who I want to win in the 2024. But the point is, people think that my politics are confused or things like this. I'm not thinking in terms of politics. I'm thinking in terms of who can actually keep the country running the way it's supposed to run. And in order to do that, the number one thing you need to do is get rid of the corruption. The corruption comes from the top down and the bottom up. We have a lot of corruption in the political circus of this country. And you have people like Alexandria Cortez, you have people like Tulsi Gabbard. Strangely enough, you don't see too many people on the right calling out actual political corruption. You have them attacking people ideologically that ideologically disagree with them, but you do not. You do not have them actually calling out corruption like Miss Cortez has, like Tulsi Gabbard has, like Ilhan Omar has. You don't see that on the right. What you see on the right is you see them attacking people for being ideologically different. Ron DeSantis, a lot of people I know support Ron DeSantis. I don't give a damn about Ron DeSantis because he's the same Israel first type of politician that Donald Trump was. And we don't need any more of this Israel first crap in the United States. We need people that are going to put the United States first. We need people that are going to embrace U.S. nationalism, American nationalism, put the U.S. citizenry of all races, not just whites, but of all races first and foremost, and not put other people, especially people that aren't the allies of the United States, anywhere. There is no need for us to be concerned about the welfare of countries that are not our allies and that it serves no purpose being concerned about. And that is a big problem in this country, is you see a lot of kowtowing to a lot of places and a lot of people groups that don't need to be kowtowed to, or don't need to be kowtowed. Nobody needs to be kowtowed to by the politicians. The politicians need to do their job, which is to navigate the ship of state. And they're not doing a very good job of navigating the ship of state. But the thing is, you don't have a country of, like, the United States is not a country of black people or white people or Hispanic people or Asian people or Jewish people, etc. It is a nation of many different kinds of people. It is a multi-ethnic nation. And we need politicians that can steer that ship of state and can navigate it accurately, pilot it accurately, so that it doesn't crumble to pieces on the rocks, so we don't run aground of the ship of state. And right now, we don't see that happening with the people running the ship of state in Washington today. And that's all for this video. I will leave links in the description.